Good afternoon, everybody. It's Chris Ogden here. Thank you for joining our webinar. We've got a couple of minutes yet just to make sure we accommodate some late arrivals. So if you just bear with us for another minute or two, we'll get underway shortly. Just as we wait for others to arrive, we have become aware that some people who join the meetings are getting a kind of a fuzzy or out of focus effect on the screen. If you've got that, perhaps exit the meeting and go back in. We've talked to GoToWebinar about it. The good news is it's not totally illegible, but it could be better. So I apologize if you've got that problem. The good news is that the recording is clear. So we'll look forward to your feedback on that. Okay. So let's get underway. Once again, thanks for attending the webinar. I hope there's some little thing that you can take away and use to enhance your use of Measure. As per the screen here, we believe that add-ons is probably underutilized by our Measure clients. So today we're going to look at what they are, why use them, the various types of, or the two types of add-ons that we have, how we create them, copy them, and apply them in a project, how we can apply different calculation methods, how we can price projects, including add-ons, and I'm just going to flick my screen over. And so here's the project that we're going to use as the basis of this webinar. So as I said a few moments ago, what we see are a lot of clients who use Measure very well for calculating or quantifying the main products or the face products in a project. So in this instance, we've got carpet, some vinyl, and timber in the kitchen. We see some clients then go away and calculate the other things that are required for the project, maybe manually or in an Excel spreadsheet. So what we want to show you is how you can calculate everything inside Measure and then effectively use the worksheet, which I'm just bringing up now, effectively use that as a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to change that for the moment. So let's get underway. There's two types of add-on, and we can see these by going to our product list. And our add-ons are miscellaneous and services. Miscellaneous are products. So these are additional things that we have to purchase in order to complete a project. So the sorts of things we can think about are trims, adhesives, underlays, weld rod, smooth edge, steer nosing, etc. Services, of course, are labor items. The obvious one is installation, but we've got things like uplift, furniture shift, floor prep, travel, all those things that we have to think about when we're costing a job and we want to apply them to the project. So that's where we find them, in miscellaneous and in services. There's three levels of add-on. The first level is a product level add-on. So in this instance here, we're looking at our carpet, our roll carpet product. Over here, we can see that under the add-ons column, or in the add-ons column, those icons that are lit up as opposed to pale blue, they have add-ons added there. So if we open this up, you can see we've got smooth edge, installation, and underlay. So every time we use that product, our measure is going to calculate those things for us automatically. So that's the product level add-on. The next level is the room level. So for example, we might have a room, and if we, for example, took this as an example, the bathroom, perhaps the floor required some grinding, we could, on a room level basis, right click, select add-ons, let's drag that over from my other screen, and we could add grinding. Now, one of the things you might already be doing, but as we get long lists in here, sometimes it's hard to find things. So we can come in here and we can type in part of the service that we're looking for or product, and we can double click to add that to our room. So that's the room level add-on. And then finally, we've got our project level or sheet level add-on. So these are things that we might want to add or incorporate into a job that are costs that we have to think about that are project-wide. So there might be travel or accommodation. It might be just a contingency we want to put into the job. So we can do that by clicking down here in the bottom left-hand corner. We've got sheet add-ons, and exactly the same process. We can come in here, we can click on new product or add a product, and then we can search for whatever it is that we want to add as an add-on for the overall project. So that's the three levels that we would expect to see add-ons used. Now, looking at creating an add-on. So if we go to product list, the first thing I would recommend is if we're going to be adding a service or a miscellaneous item as an add-on, because these lists can get quite overwhelming, to ensure that we don't add it multiple times, always just take the time to search in the style box up here for what it is that we might want to add, just to make sure that it doesn't already exist. So for example, if I've got an add-on that I want to include to pay the installers to lay around toilets, I can come in here and I can type in toilet, and I can see actually I've already got that in there. Let's get rid of it if I can. Let's delete it. Oh no, I'm already using it. So let's add another product. We're just going to come down here and we're going to the product wizard. We're going to click on create an add-on, and we're going to decide whether it's a miscellaneous or a service add-on. If it involves a product, it's going to be miscellaneous. If it's going to be a service, a labor item, it's going to be a service. So let's make something up. We're going to create a miscellaneous item, and the product is going to be called a Cove cap adhesive. Just making this up. We sell it by the unit, so it might be that we sell it by the square meter or the linear meter, and we can put our cost in there. The cost might be $1.50, and we might say we've got, when we use this particular product, we can get maybe 30 linear meters out of it. So what measure is going to do in a project, it's going to round up the box quantity needed, so it's going to give you the number of units you need to do the job. There's the summary of our project, of our add-on, and we can click on finish. So we've added that now as a product in miscellaneous. So very easy to add products. The other thing to remember, if you're an RFMS user, you can import your service lines and your miscellaneous lines, or any product actually, from RFMS by just clicking up here on search database. So you can come in here and we could search on, well, let's search on install carpet. And click on the search box, and it's going back now, and it's looking at my RFMS database, and it's finding everything with install carpet on it. And I can select the one I want to bring in and import it. All right. So just something to remember if you're an RFMS client. The other thing that you can do is you can add add-ons on the fly. So say, for example, we're working on a project and we realize that we need something. We've gone into add-ons and it's not there. When we click on add, having searched through our list to find that it's not there, we've confirmed that it's not there, we can click on this button to add a new project, or a product rather, and that gives us the ability to add the, create the add-on and then use it without having to go up into the product list. But we won't do that because you've already seen how we add an add-on or create an add-on. So going back to my list of things we're going to cover, we're looking at, so we've, okay, so how do we apply, okay, let's create an add-on list for a carpet. So we're going to go to our product list, and let's say we're creating an add-on list for our 3.66 carpet. We can come in here, we can choose a product, we can choose an underlay, we can choose a service, and we could include, let's just throw in one more, we'll throw in search for smoothage. So as quickly as that, we can create a bundle of products that are going to be calculated every time we use that product. Now that took a minute or so. It actually gets a little better, because once we've created an add-on list, we can copy it and apply it to other products. So for example, if I want to copy my Accolade add-on list to all my other carpets, I can highlight it, come down here to the bottom here where it says copy add-ons, and then I can highlight the carpets that I want it to apply to, and then click on paste add-ons. And as quickly as that, I have added those add-ons. I'm going to be sick of saying the word add by the end of this afternoon. We've created those add-ons and we have attached them to our other products. So it's a really handy tool. It's the copy and paste add-on tool. We can create an add-on, or sorry, attach an add-on by right-clicking on a room and selecting add-ons. If we're doing just one room, it's just a matter of right-clicking and selecting add-ons. If we're doing multiple rooms, so say for example, we wanted to change the underlay for all of the carpet, we can come down to the bottom right here, select our products view, select the carpet that we want, and now we're going to go to our add-on icon up here, and we can delete that underlay. Perhaps we're upgrading the underlay, so we're going to delete that one, and we're going to add the best underlay. So as quickly as that, we've come in, we've identified the product, the areas that need to be changed, we've deleted the one add-on and replaced it with another. So again, it's just becoming familiar with some of these tools so you can do them quickly rather than with multiple steps. Going back to my list again to see where I am. Copy and paste, right click inside a room. Okay, the counter tool. So the counter tool is something that's relatively new and it's kind of hidden away, so you may not be aware of it. It's great for commercial projects, but we're going to use it in this case for our toilets. So we're going to go to the tools bar and we're going to click on the counter tool here. Now, if you decide that you like this tool and you want to have quick access to it, don't forget you can right click and add it to your quick access toolbar. So now it's available right there. So I'm going to click on it, and you can see up in the left-hand corner here, my icon has changed to represent the fact that I'm now counting things. So I'm going to count the number of toilets that we need to lay around so that we can apply the cost of laying around the toilets. So, and you can see every time I click it, a spot appears and our counter goes up. Now to save that, I can create a new sheet add-on. I can go and I can find that toilet add-on, and I've added it. As I was preparing for this, I've obviously added it a few times, but you can see how useful that would be, especially if you're doing something on a big commercial job. You don't want to have to print it out and do any counting. You can literally go around and count whatever it is, and then from there select the appropriate add-on for that, those things that we've just counted. So that's the counter tool. We've talked about deleting add-ons. So I showed you a few moments ago how if you bring a product through that has a pre-selected add-on, we want to get rid of it. It's really just a matter of opening it up, identifying it, and deleting it. So that brings us to calculation methods. So one of the things that I've said over the course of the years is there's very few things that measure cannot either quantify, count, or allow for in a project. So if we go back to our home tab, we're going to have a look at open up product list. We're going to go to our miscellaneous items, and you can see over here whenever we've got a miscellaneous item checked as an add-on only, we have the opportunity to select the default calculation method. So this is how Measure is going to calculate when you use the product. So in this case, we've got an adhesive, and it's calculated by the area. So if we have a look at that, we can see that it's calculated by the area, and there's a few controls in there so that we can expand or be a little bit more focused on the areas that are going to be quantified. There's other options. So a perimeter product obviously measures lineal areas. You'll notice there's a warning popped up here just to alert me to the fact that if I think I want to apply this type of calculation method to this particular product, it's not going to work because this is a square meter product and this is a linear meter product. So that's a warning there to help hopefully prevent us from doing that and causing consternation when it happens. Stairs is a great tool. We can measure the stair nose lengths for stair nosings, and we can measure step counts for if we've got a cost that's associated with the number of steps. Seams, similarly, will calculate the seams automatically based on the seam length or border seams or even corner weld seams. Corners, we'll do internals and externals. If there's a product that we need to, or an add-on we need to associate with that. Other, we most often see either a manual option where we're going to enter in the number that we want, or it might be that we want it to copy the gross quantity of the product that we're handling. But there's some other options there as well. And then finally, we have the advanced option. So I'm just going to come in here. I did this one a few moments ago. Let's edit it. So this is an underlay calculation. So maybe you're taking the square area of the room. So let's just say, let's just get rid of it. Okay, cancel. We'll go delete. Oh, I'm already using it. Okay. So let's go back in there. So basically what it allows us to do is to drag these various elements to create a formula. So in this case, I'm taking the room area, I'm dividing it by 1.82 and multiplying it by 1.1 to give myself a little bit of waste. And perhaps that's the way I want to calculate my underlay. But of course, it has a lot more application than just that. There's all sorts of things in here that we can use to create very specific add-on calculations. So finally, pricing. So having quantified everything in the job, from the product to the adhesive to the bars, we're just going to cancel out of here and we're going to go to the worksheet. So I'm in the commercial work mode at the moment. So it's a commercial project. So I'm just going to put that back to 0. So this is what we'll normally see. We've put our products in here. We know what our costs are. We've entered our costs. We've got no margin. So this is actually our cost price for doing the job. Now what we want to do is put in a margin. So this is a residential job, so maybe we want to get at least 25%. And the system is asking, do we want to apply that across everywhere? We say yes. And there is our GST exclusive price for this project at a 25% margin. If we want to play around with the margins, we can come in here, and Caden showed us that last week. We can put in whatever margins we feel we want to have a look at to get a feel for where the job might need to be. And also 28. And you can see that under each of those margins, there is the grand total that would apply. And if I use this, it changes my pricing accordingly. And there's a whole bunch of calculations that we can do in there. The point, of course, is that we're not just working on our main products, we're actually calculating our add-ons as well. And then, of course, we can add waste factors to our add-ons. So if we think that, for example, with our our weld rod. Ordering the exact neat amount of weld rod is a little bit risky. We can put a waste factor in there. And then finally, if we look at forms, I don't know how many of you are aware of forms or have looked at forms, but here there's a tool for giving us information reports that we can print about our job. So in this case, I have got my add-ons showing under the material. So every material there is in bold, and underneath it is the related add-ons for that, or I can simply hide them. So forms is a great way, particularly on a commercial job, if you want to share information with a quantity surveyor. This is a great way of presenting that information, including all of your add-on material, rather than having to kind of duck between measure maybe and your own spreadsheets. So we would really encourage you, if you're not using add-ons already, or if you're not using them very much, to try and use them extensively, because it'll save you a lot of time, give you a lot more accuracy, and give you a lot more information about the job. So that's pretty much all I've got. Caden, do we have any questions?
No question. Well, there's been one that we've answered already, but if anyone does have any questions, then there is a question button you can that you can click, I believe, on the right-hand side of your screen. So if anyone does have any questions, then please send them through now, and we'll take a look at them.
All right. So while any questions might come through, just remember that these webinars are being recorded. They're available to be viewed at the on the makethemostofrfms.com website. And if there's something we've touched on and you would like to talk with us further about it, the Measure team are only too happy to take a little bit of time and show you these things and help you get going with them. So Caden's just walked into my office. What's happening? What? I'm sorry? What's happening?
There's a couple of questions in there.
Oh, is there? Okay. How do we apply products and make them stay? Okay, great question. So let's go out of here. What a lot of people don't realize or perhaps forget is that when we make a change to the products in RFMS, in order to make that, so with the default position Measure takes is that it assumes that we're only making this change for this particular project. So if we don't save as default down here in the bottom right, when we go into our next project, that product's not going to be there. So whenever you make a change and you want that change to be visible or available at the in further projects, you click on Save as Default, click Yes, and now going forward you will always have that product available. So it's a good question because it comes up a lot. People ring us and say, look, I've been putting this product in for 20 years. I'm finally sick of it. What is the problem? Did you mention about products that are only for add-ons and that you can okay, all right, Caden, can you come through and help me with this? Let me just see. Does this flow to order entry? I was just trying to negotiate my way through these questions. Can I make the window larger? Sorry?
Click and drag it out and it should pop up.
Click and drag one.
Just click from the grey area and just click from there and drag out. Click and drag out.
Well, that's okay. So does it flow through to order entry? Yes. So if you export into RFMS, these flow through into RFMS, so you don't have to rekey the information into RFMS. So I assume that question, now that question came from, how do I read this, Kate? Okay, I see, all right. All right, so I needed a tutorial on this, didn't I? So, the image is good. It does it. Is there any other? How do we apply products? Make them stay. Does this flow through to? Did you mention about products that are only for add-ons and that you can uncheck the box and make them available to a room? Have you answered that question? Did you mention about products that are only for add-ons and you can uncheck? I'll come back to you on that, Andrea. I don't quite understand the question. Is there a way to make an add-on, make a sheet and be saved for default for all new projects? I don't believe there is a way of making a sheet default product Scott add-on, but I'll look into it and come back to you. Can you share your database with other staff once added to your computer? Yes, so Wayne, you can share your database. You can send the measure plan to your colleague. They can open up measure and then save that as default. And that product database will, so what some clients do is they actually have a product measure file that they keep all their product up to date in, and they share it amongst themselves from time to time. And how do you calculate weld rod for corners? So we'll go to File. Let's come in here and we'll put some coving in here. We'll say 0.15. And now I'm going to go to my add-ons. Now I've already got an add-on for weld seams, so I want to add another weld rod for my corners. So I'm going to go to my miscellaneous, I'm going to scroll down to weld rod. And we're going to make the calculation method based on the corners and then choose that. All right, so for this particular room, not only have I got the weld rod required for the floor, for the seams, I've also got the weld rod required for the corners. So that was a quick answer. If you've got any questions, just come back to us. So that's it. I'm conscious that we've just snuck over the half-hour mark. If you've got any questions, if there's something you'd like to go over, just let us know. We'll be happy to help. And you'll all get an email with the link to the recording. So thank you, and have a good remainder of the afternoon, everybody.